Hey beautiful people, so I hope you guys are having a splendid day. There's an auction coming up of some properties that are available, and I want to call the agents and have a chat with them about the property to see whether or not it's worth viewing and seeing, whether the numbers work on paper at the moment. So I'm going to do that. So I thought it would be good for you guys to listen to the phone conversations. But before I do that, check out this castle. Isn't this castle like huge? That castle is huge. I don't know how to say the name of this road. It's Yinsimud.
Good afternoon, John Francis Zach speaking.
Hi there. There's a 2-bedroom property on for 25,000 on, is it Yinsimud Road in Pontardawe?
I know, yes, it's the one going to auction, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. How do you say the name of that road?
It's Ennismeadow Road.
So I just wanted to know, is that area, is it a good area for renting properties, or is it more of a buyer's?
Yes, it would be. No, I think I wouldn't really say it was bad for renting right now. The rental market is so busy.
Ah, okay.
I know we had a similar house that was rented up the road on the same sort of terrace. I'm sure she was getting like $550 for it, I think.
$550 and a 2-bed as well, is it?
Yeah, more or less the exact same house, but I mean in better condition.
Yeah, because I tried to look on Google Maps. It seems like that's it's in a cluster of 5 or 6 houses together or something like that, isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. So you think it can get 525 a month, is it? And what?
Yeah, well, 525, 550 even. It's
okay.
The rental market is so busy right now.
Yeah. What about the revalue, doing it up once it's done in good condition? Just a vague idea. Do you have an idea what
it's
could be?
It's going to be maximum about 85, 90. 95 at a push,
Yeah. And how are you finding the market up there at the moment in terms of people purchasing?
It's massively busy.
Oh, okay.
So much demand that there's not many houses up for sale either,
So would I be able to arrange a viewing on that property?
Yeah, I think we're only doing 5 there per day, so I think we're booked up. Is there Miss Amorfa? I think I've got you on our system already, I think.
Yeah.
I'm sure I've spoken to you before.
Yeah, that's definitely me.
There we go. I will send you over an email confirmation that's got the full address.
Thank you very much. I'll see you on Monday.
All right. Anything else give us a call. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.
Bye. Those are the questions you ask. Very important. What is the rental demand? What's the end valuation? One thing I did want to ask, which I completely forgot to ask, is what type of people would be renting? Because it's one thing saying it can get 525, but to who? Is that housing association? It's not housing association. Is it LHA tenants, or is it private rented professionals? Not private rented, is it professionals? But to me, it doesn't really matter, because I don't mind renting to any of those two markets. When you meet the tenants anyway, it's really about the individual. There's so many circumstances at the moment where people are losing their jobs. A lot of professionals will be looking at having to claim some universal credit anyway, so universal benefit, anyway, so that's not a huge big deal. But the reason I like this property is because I do know the area quite well. Lovely and green on a road I cannot pronounce at all, but it does need a full renovation. But I can see that the key things are okay, like the windows are okay, the roof's okay, but I need to get in the property to really understand, because from the pictures you can't tell. But off the top of my head, I can see that the house will probably need about 26,000 pounds worth of work. I can have an idea of what needs doing based on what I see in the pictures, but you don't know until you really get there and walk around with someone, because there might be other things that you just simply don't think about, and other legal problems that can come about that you don't think about. And one thing about Wales is there's a lot of leasehold houses, and it's not always clear before you go and view, and then you go and view, and then they say it's leasehold, and it's like, well, you said freehold on the advert, what happened? And it's like, well, the legals came through, and then you realize, and you're like, okay. So that could really throw a spanner in the works, because I haven't done any leasehold properties where I've had to extend the lease, and that's something I'd be open to doing if you buy it at the right price like this. If he's saying the end value of the house is 85 to 90, and that's exactly what my research showed me, then and the house is on for 25, but that's a guide price. So say even if you went up to 35 and you leave yourself an allowance of 25 to do the house, you're in at 60, plus you've got costs of say 5,000, you're 65, and you refinance that on the 85, you're still going to get a lot of your money back out, which is fantastic. So this is the kind of deals you're looking for, but I gotta find the money. The deal's no good if I ain't got no money. Well, it's still a good deal, but I need the money. And I'm not even going to release this until the auction is gone, because I do not want y'all getting on your little laptops, finding out where this house is and then going and get it. Okay. Okay, so we're at the property. Don't watch my shadow. It's on one of those slopes. As you can see, there's a slope down there as well. This is the row of houses, and this is opposite the house. Are you the agent? I am indeed. Okay. All right. Is there anyone inside?
No.
All right.
Go on in.
Thank you. Okay.
So the
So,
house
oh gosh.
is an auction house.
It's very low ceilings. Yes, it is. So you can see up there the lintels have completely gone, the ceiling's bowed, and then you see you've got a lot of damp. You've got a lot of damp there. So that must be one of the meters back there. You've got the radiator. You can see it just needs a complete full gutter. Something like this, you would take down ceilings. You've got some moisture leaking there. I don't know if you just saw that drop, but it's moisture that's leaking there. So this is like a complete tear back. You can't keep nothing here. Let's have a concrete floor. Really stinks. Really stinks. There's just mold everywhere. Are you able to go outside round the back? Or?
Yeah, you can do.
Oh, is it someone else's?
Somebody else come in.
Oh, okay.
So if you want to have a whip around upstairs.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, they got big gardens here.
Yeah, they are quite long, isn't it? So he's asking all the right questions. I'm not here alone. I'm with someone, and they're asking. Oh God, you can see where it stinks, isn't it? But lovely little catties. But the window has to completely change. You can see there's a lot of moisture here. Let's have another whip around. I can't keep them talk much. It's just a two bedroom, isn't it? Upstairs bathroom. Okay.
Busy selling properties. They go really fast. Yeah.
Are they? Is that with auction or just the open market?
Open market and
They're
auction.
just selling off, is it?
Yeah,
Overpriced or?
Overpriced.
Overpriced, yeah.
Yeah,
And then they're
they-
going quicker. Are they going over their asking
Yes,
prices
they
as
are.
well?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So do you
Wow.
have more buyers or more sellers?
More buyers,
More buyers.
which is why it's pushed it up.
So
Because there's more people wanting to buy property than there is of stock, which is why it's pushing up, because there's a massive
what's
demand.
majority of those buyers coming from?
There's a couple of bubbles. So you've got your normal first-time buyers. You've got people that have come out of lockdown, decided they don't want to be in the area anymore. You've got the people that weren't ready to become purchasers, but because of the lockdown, they've saved
Yeah.
a lot of money and realised I can't live with mum and dad anymore. They've fast forwarded. And then, you've got your, the people that don't want to live in the area.
What's the majority?
Just normal people. It's a perfect time to sell, definitely.
Isn't that good? Is there only pockets of areas you're finding people are looking in? Mainly these people?
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
I've just spoken to another agent down in West Wales, and they are equally as busy. It's like the whole market across the board is crazy.
Okay.
We've got properties that are going over asking by 40k.
But these are like well done. Properties like this. How are they selling at the moment?
This will go in auction.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Can't see it not going, to be
Yeah.
honest with you. There's a mixed bag though. First time buyers are interested in this kind of property, but then it's having the capital to support this kind of property. A lot of people come in thinking that I'll be able to get a mortgage. You can't.
Oh, no,
it's just too far. They won't lend on it. So yeah, it's a bit of a mixed bag across the board, and I think that's why it's so busy, because everybody is in the right position and every property is suitable for somebody. So it's just big bubbles of people that are pushing the market up.
Thank you very much.
No
That's
problem
awesome.
at all.
So after doing that viewing, I could see that the house needs a lot of work. I mean, you guys can see it yourself. The windows needed doing, it needs a new boiler system, a new central heating system. The electrics are completely outdated. The flooring was just disgusting. The house stank. And unfortunately, I didn't get to show you the back properly, but I could see that that house had actually been extended on top of the ground floor kitchen, and not all of those houses had that. So I know there's a little bit of room for additional value there than other, you know, properties that would have sold in that particular spot. But you know, looking at the house, it just needed a complete renovation, and I can see based on a house that I've recently just done that I'm looking around the 25 to 28 mark. It being £25,000, you heard her, there's a lot of interest at that price, and it's definitely going to be an investor who buys it. But again, properties are flying off the market. It's currently a seller's market because there are people out there buying. The proof is in the pudding. You heard her say it yourself. And it's good to have those kind of conversations with agents, because that's where you get to learn a lot more about the area. You get to learn a lot more about what's happening, what's selling, what's not selling, who's buying, and get an idea of if there is an increase in properties values or whether there's a decrease, and just get a general idea of what the market's saying. So those conversations are so good and important to have. So moving on, the next thing to do really is, after doing a viewing, is go and work out the numbers, go and do the due diligence, go and find out what the value of that property is. Now, how do you do this? First things first is going on Zoopla and Rightmove. I have an amazing spreadsheet that I've put together. It's called a due diligence spreadsheet, and this spreadsheet allows me just to collate all the information in a very systemized way, and then it will give me a number at the very end. That spreadsheet's fantastic. It's very easy to use, very useful, and I put all my information onto that calculator, and then that calculator will give me the value once all that information is in there. So the first things I usually do is collect 20 properties that have sold in that area. The auction has now gone by, okay? So I was never gonna release this video before, but I still wanted to do it for informational purposes for you guys and share the journey with you, what it looks like purchasing a property. Okay, so the first thing I did is go online and went to Rightmove, and I found some properties that were in the area. The reason I've got my phone is because I'm going to look at what I found, but you guys are going to see that on the screen. And as you'll see, you know, there's lots of different prices, but the key thing is to find properties that are for the same price as what you're looking at. Sorry, not the same price, the same location. So these properties that you're seeing at, you know, 37 New Road, 6 Old Road, those are on the road, but it's not, it's in the area, but it's not the exact road. So I had to go back and re-put in the information. Again, it's not always easy. You don't find the property, the road straight away. You do have to play around with it a little bit. But once I eventually found the exact location that I'm looking for, then I could see more realistic values. So here we've got number 57, and that's gone for 85. And I thought, you know, well, something like that is ideal because it's in a similar row of houses. So let's look at what it looks like. And then, you know, I tap in and see, well, what do the pictures look like? Is the kitchen new? Because here it says new kitchen, new bathroom, central heating, carpets. When I look through the property, I mean, it didn't look brand new to me. I mean, it didn't look brand new, if I'm honest. And it looked a bit lived in, but that's fine. It's just a comparable. We use that information. Next on, then, you know, I continue on and I see number 43. Number 43 stands out because, again, it's next door to the property, and that sold for 99. So again, you collect that comparable. I didn't get the idea of the condition, but I could see it would have been around that. And then just generally, you look for properties in good condition, collecting them, but they need to be like for like, and I think that's the most important thing. Properties that are like the condition that you're looking to buy, in a similar condition to what you will be selling it like, right? So if you're selling it in new condition, you need to collect new condition properties to understand what the new condition would be. Another thing I then do is go on Zoopla, and I find houses that have been sold or you know, listed as under offer, or there's been some kind of activity with it. So it hasn't just been on the market and it's just sitting there, because if there's a property like that, then there's a reason why 6 months have gone by and the house hasn't sold. So you want to collect properties that have some form of market activity. It's either sold or it's, you know, sold subject to, same thing, and or under offer. So you collect those, and I go to Zoopla to collect those because I find there's a lot more agents on Zoopla than there is on Rightmove. Rightmove is quite an expensive portal, whereas Zoopla is a lot more reasonable and a lot more agents are on there. And you've also got On The Market, which is a very fantastic one to use. They are much more newcomers than Rightmove and Zoopla, but they have a lot of good properties on there. And you find some agents are just across all three of them, right? It does depend. So what I went ahead and done is, as you see, I typed in the location of where the property is, and I go ahead and press search. Let's get started, and then find actually, I put in all the other details, so I'm only looking for 2 beds and I'm only looking for houses. So you put that in the filter and then you go ahead and search. Now, what you want to do is collect properties again that look like the house that you are offering, and as close as possible to that house. And if there's none in that area, then you would just search another area that's just like that. And then you go ahead and collect any properties that are you go ahead and collect any properties that are sold, subject to, or under offer. You can also call the agent. And another thing I do as well is call the agent. So you get the feedback from that agent, and you'll see that on the spreadsheet in one of the sections, I believe it's section 7, there's an opportunity to collect agency feedback. And on that feedback, you'll be collecting what they think the end value is, including the agent who you spoke to who's selling the house. Of course, they might be a little bit biased, but collect that information nonetheless, because if you're going to sell through them, then it's likely that they're going to keep their word, or just give you more of a realistic price. Here's a secret tip for you here. If you really want to get a realistic valuation from an agency, although they're telling you this is what it's worth, that's not necessarily a valuation, but a realistic resale price from an agent, then tell them, what would be my quick sale price? If I wanted to sell this like yesterday, what would be the price you let it for? And that price they give you, that number, would be more around the realistic figure. And here's another secret tip for you. What you find is that properties usually sell for within 5% of what the agencies have listed it for. So if they're listing it for 100,000, it's likely that you'll sell it for 95,000. So there's a bit of a give and take there, but that depends on the market. So if she's saying it's a buyer's market right now, then you can probably list it at the price she's saying. But still, I like to be conservative when it comes to numbers, because the market can change at any point, and we're experiencing a market change now with COVID, and that has impacted property. Whether people like to admit it or not, property has been impacted. So it's good to always operate on the conservative side of things. So now, once you've done all that research, put all the numbers in. At the very end, the calculation will be added up, and then you'd get an end valuation. And what the end value would be is what's at the very end in section 8 of that spreadsheet. My end valuation was £90,000. After doing all that due diligence, £90,000 was the end valuation price, and that took me a while to get that, because I did have to shop around and go to different areas. Not shop around, I did have to search around and look at different areas. So after doing all of that, £90,000 was the end valuation. On auction day, which I didn't record, but I'll tell you about it. On auction day, that property ended up selling for £60,000. Now, if we look at the numbers that I'm working to, there's no way I went up to £60,000. It was not going to happen. Now, how I like to work out my numbers is I work backwards. So if the end valuation is £90,000, we take off 25, so we're at 65. From 65, then we have the cost of buying and selling. I like to put that around £5,000 to £6,000, sometimes even 7. It depends when I work out stamp duty and all that other stuff, where that number takes me to, which takes me to 60,000. But it was a little bit less than that, because there were some other numbers in there that I'm trying to keep this simple for you to understand. But it was at £60,000. Then I need to take off my profit, right? So how do I work out my profit? Well, I want a 20% return on investment. So my profit margin would be £20,000. That's how much money I want to make from the deal, because I've got to borrow this money and I've got to pay back the investor his cut, and I've got to ensure that I can cover that money back. So it's important that I inflate a little bit my profit margin to ensure that I can pay that. So even if the property or the project goes bellies up and I go into the contingency, I still have some money to pay back the investor. And to me, that's like core. That is core. Right. So once I take off £20,000, I'm at 40. Now 40 is where I need to be offering. okay, because we're at 90. We take off 25 for the renovation, that's 65. We take off £5,000 for the costs, we're at 60. Then we take off £20,000 for a profit, then we're at 40. Even if I was to take off £15,000 for the profit and go to 40, that £45,000, I wouldn't really have been comfortable with that. That's still much less than what the property sold for, because it sold for 60. The core thing is you get to see the process. You get to see how, when you're looking at a property, even if it's on auction, when you're looking at a property through the agencies, or even if you're going direct to vendor, there's core steps, there's core questions, and there's certain information that you need to attain to be able to do your own due diligence, to do your own analysis, to work out whether or not this deal is a deal or not. So, you know, that's the way the cookie crumbles. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I will be doing a lot more videos like this. I'll be taking you on my journey. Feel free to subscribe if you liked this video. There's a lot more content that I give, and I want to conversate with people just like you who are getting started, or you have money and you don't know or don't have the time to invest in property, but you know that's the way forward, because that is the way forward. So be sure to reach out and say hi, and it's just great connecting with you all, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.